Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have been given 50 seconds to ask each of you questions and to hear your answers, which of course is patently absurd. So I'd ask if you would just answer my question directly. This isn't a question. Judge Gray, I may vote for you anyway, but I'll commit right now in front of God and country to vote for you if you'll move back to Louisiana. Judge Lin, I've read a number of your writings. I want to, you wrote an article in December of 1998 entitled Person of Faith, Race and Religion as Experiential Knowledge. You wrote it in a journal called Perspective. And this is what you said, I quote, your words, not mine. The problem with the Christian coalition is not that they are Bible thumpers, parentheses, there are personal beliefs that often result from religious experiences, close parentheses, but that they are bigots.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, America First Family. This is the place where we speak the truth, boldly, unapologetically, and unfiltered. If you're tired of watching your country be redefined by leftist activists in robes, you're in the right place. Smash that like button to push this video into the algorithm. Subscribe to America First and hit the notification bell so you're always first to hear the truth they don't want you to know. Because today we're digging into something deeply disturbing, something that hits at the very heart of religious liberty, judicial integrity, and what kind of country we want to be.
End of quote. Did I quote that correctly?
I believe you did.
Did you write that?
I did write that when I was 18 years old, or 20 years old, excuse me. I do want to be clear. I do not agree with that today. I wrote that before I went to law school, before I had any kind of
You were a grown woman when you wrote this.
I'm sorry?
You were a grown woman when you wrote this.
I was 20 years old when I wrote it. It was before I had a professional career.
You were in your third year at Harvard?
I was
a senior at Harvard.
I was a junior at Harvard.
Junior. So you were 3/4 of the way through your Harvard education, and you wrote that.
That is correct, Senator. It is
Wow.
20 years before I became a judge. I do not agree with it today. I do want to be clear about that.
Okay. Judge Simmons, let me just ask you a couple of questions. You finished law school in 2004?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you ever tried a case in federal court?
I have not seen there.
Have you ever filed a brief in federal court?
I have not practiced in federal court. My entire practice has been in the state court.
Okay. Have you ever argued a motion in federal court?
I have my entire practice of over 12 years as a prosecutor has been in state court, Senator.
Okay. Have you ever, you serve as a state court judge, have you ever presided over a jury trial as a state court judge?
In the 5 years that I've been on the Superior Court bench, I have been in a moving department, and now I'm the supervising judge.
Have you ever tried a jury trial?
As an attorney, I have tried.
No, as a judge.
As a judge, I have presided over court trials, not jury trials, sir.
No, so the answer is no.
I have not presided over jury trials as a judge.
Have you, in the 5 years you've been on the state bench, have you ever written any opinions, issued any opinions?
Well, sir, I've been in moving departments in the 5 years that I've been as a Superior Court judge. We don't issue written opinions in moving departments on the Superior Court.
So the answer is no?
In the 5 years I've been on the Superior Court, I've been in moving departments. We don't issue written opinions in moving departments.
Okay. What is the standard of review in federal court for questions of fact?
For questions of fact by the trial court, it is clear error, sir.
Okay. What's the standard of review for questions of law?
In the trial court level, de novo.
Okay. What's the holding in Map v. Ohio?
Map v. Ohio, since I've been practicing as a district attorney for the last 12 years, as well as a Superior Court judge over the last 5 years, I know what the holding is. It escapes me as I currently sit here, but
okay.
As a
What's the Chevron doctrine? You'll see that a lot.
Yes, Chevron deference refers to an administrative agency that's interpreting its own rule. It created a two-part step test. The first step in that test is whether Congress was clear.
You know it. I got you. What's the political question doctrine?
I have not, as a Superior Court judge, and over the last 5 years, and as a Deputy District Attorney for 12 years, I have not practiced in a federal court. So if I am so fortunate enough to be confirmed, I will obviously apply the applicable law.
Okay, I want to talk about the United States Constitution. Is it a doctrine of plenary powers or enumerated powers?
Enumerated powers, sir.
Okay. I yield back 1 second, Madam Chair.
During a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Senator John Kennedy, one of the last true truth-tellers in Washington, grilled Biden's nominee for the federal bench, Rita Lin, who is up for a lifetime appointment to the United States District Court for the Northern District of California. Kennedy didn't come to play games. He brought up a little-known article Lin wrote back in 1998, an article she published as a student at Harvard. In it, she said the following about the Christian Coalition, and I quote, "The problem with the Christian Coalition is not that they are Bible thumpers, but that they are bigots." Let me repeat that for those in the back. They are bigots. That's not political critique. That's hatred. That's slander against millions of Americans whose only crime is standing up for biblical values. Now, when Kennedy asked her if she really wrote that, she admitted it. No denying it. But then she said, "Well, I was only 20. I was young. I don't believe that anymore." Sorry, but at 20 years old, you're old enough to vote, serve in the military, sign contracts, and apparently get nominated for a federal judgeship decades later. So we don't get to wave this off as a teenage mistake. Especially not when that exact kind of thinking has real consequences for Christian Americans today. Let's talk about what this actually means if she gets confirmed. This woman could be presiding over religious liberty cases, faith-based nonprofit litigation, parental rights lawsuits, and free speech disputes, and she's already gone on record calling Christian conservatives bigots. Are we supposed to trust she'll be fair, neutral, impartial? This is where the rubber meets the road, because these aren't just academic arguments anymore. We're seeing real attacks on Christian values from the left, bakers and florists sued for refusing to violate their conscience. Parents labeled extremists for opposing gender ideology in schools. Catholic adoption agencies shut down because they won't bow to woke orthodoxy. Now add a judge who already sees Christians as bigots to the mix? That's not justice. That's ideological warfare in the courtroom. And it doesn't end with Lin. Kennedy also questioned another nominee, Judge Simmons. Now brace yourself, because what we learned is downright embarrassing and infuriating. Here are the facts. She's never tried a case in federal court. She's never filed a brief in federal court. She's never presided over a jury trial, even after 5 years as a judge. She couldn't even recall basic legal doctrines like Mapp versus Ohio or the Chevron doctrine. When asked about the political question doctrine, she gave a vague non-answer and blamed her lack of federal court experience. Would you be hired for a job if you knew this little about your field? Because it's not just inexperience, it's unpreparedness. And unqualified judges making lifetime decisions? That's a recipe for activism from the bench, not constitutional jurisprudence. This is part of a larger pattern. The Biden administration is flooding the courts with progressive ideologues and diversity hires who pass the political litmus test, but can't pass basic judicial muster. We're not against diversity, we're against incompetence. We're not against reform, we're against radicals who want to dismantle everything this country stands for. When Democrats put forward judges who don't respect faith, don't understand the Constitution, and don't have the credentials, we have to ask, is this about justice, or is this about power? Because it sure looks like the left is building a legal army to advance their agenda when they can't win at the ballot box. So what do? We speak up, like Senator Kennedy did. We hold our elected officials accountable. They need to vote no on radical judicial nominees. We pray for our country, because the stakes are higher than ever. And most importantly, we vote. Every single election, local, state, and federal. Because if we lose the courts, we lose the country. The left knows it. That's why they're rushing to confirm people like Rita Lin. People who despise the values this nation was built on. Folks, if you're tired of seeing judges who hate your values, who smear your faith, and who don't even understand the Constitution they're sworn to uphold, then it's time to fight back. This is still our country. These are still our values. And this is still our Constitution. So I urge you, like this video, to push it past the censors. Share it with your church group, your family, and your friends. Subscribe to America First, where we expose the truth the mainstream media won't touch. And drop a comment below. Should Rita Lin be disqualified for her past anti-Christian writings? Do you think judicial nominees should be held to a higher standard of constitutional knowledge? Until next time, stay bold, stay free, and stay grounded in faith. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.